While snow isn't falling, sub-zero temperatures are testing caucus goers' loyalty in Iowa before the caucuses kick off later tonight. Tia Ewing is here now with more. Tia.
Yeah, Dawn, the weather is brutal with temperatures. They have been well below zero, and that's not including the wind chill there. But Iowans say they're ready to brave those conditions. Former President Donald Trump is still commanding a sizable lead in the polls. But former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis are not backing down. Haley even overtaking DeSantis in a recent poll from the Hawkeye State.
I think Nikki Haley is showing a very, very positive effect in this thing.
I like being underestimated. I like being the underdog.
I vote for a candidate, not a crowd.
Well, sometimes Iowa does throw a curveball. We've seen it before. Some voters there are throwing their support behind GOP hopefuls Vivek Ramaswamy and also Asa Hutchinson, I should say. So it could be anyone's game at this point. Dawn?
Thank you, Tia. But former President Donald Trump is expected to walk away the big winner tonight. The real battle in Iowa is for second place.
Joining us with some insights is Professor Stephen Caliendo from North Central College. Thanks so much for joining us on a holiday Monday.
Hey, it's wonderful to be with you.
All right, let's talk about the aforementioned Donald Trump. He can sit back and watch this play out between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. If Governor DeSantis has a poor showing, if Nikki Haley bests him in Iowa, does that spell the beginning of the end for him?
I think it would have to. Excuse me, he doesn't have a lot of cash on hand after Iowa. He really was putting all his eggs in that basket, and so he's hoping for a big showing for Iowans during the caucuses. If they don't come out, again, the idea isn't, Tia said it, it's not about winning. It's about coming in second and having some distance between him and everybody else that's left in the field. If he's not able to do that tonight, we might get an announcement in the next couple of days.
Well, Trump has been targeting Nikki Haley in a lot of attacks over the past month. Do you think he thinks that she is his chief rival now?
I don't know that he believes anybody's his chief rival. And of course, if the polls are any indication, there really isn't anybody, so long as he doesn't, get convicted of any of these federal indictments that he's got going on, or the state indictments. But he's got to be attacking somebody. He's got to be in campaign mode. And so, I think he leveled some assertions against Vivek Ramaswamy earlier this week. So he's kind of going after everybody. But I think the internal polling is showing that Nikki Haley is surging. Certainly, she's doing so in areas like New Hampshire, even if she's not so much in Iowa. And as Tia said, though, she has had a good showing in a poll recently in Iowa as well. So we'll see. It's going to be a low turnout. It's always a low turnout. Caucuses have a low turnout, usually fewer than 20%. When you add the weather on top of it and the fact that there's a front runner with such a huge lead, I don't expect there to be a huge turnout tonight.
Yeah, and to that point, Professor, it's a caucus. It's not a traditional election. Nobody's going into a booth and pulling the curtain and then punching a ballot. They talk these things out, and we've been talking about the weather. So let's just say the turnout is extremely low, and let's just say that Trump does not get this huge margin of victory that he's talking about. Does that hurt him going forward? Because he's predicting a record margin of victory here.
Yeah, he has the most to lose for sure, because he looks like the clear front runner by a huge margin. And so if it's anything short of that huge margin, and he's nervous about it. He's talked about it over the last few weeks. He really wants to make sure people come out, because it'll be embarrassing. The bigger problem, of course, for Donald Trump in that circumstance isn't the number of delegates he may collect in Iowa. It's a winner-take-all state, so he doesn't have to win by a huge margin. That's how the Republicans do their delegates to the national convention. It's really the fundraisers. Are people going to be willing to back a good, strong Nikki Haley showing, or back a strong Ron DeSantis showing after tonight, and then help move them through for the next couple of weeks?
All right, Professor Caliendo, thank you so much for joining us.
Here are some of the other big events for the 2024 election cycle. The 23rd of this month, of course, is the New Hampshire primary. And then next month, you've got Nevada and the Virgin Islands holding caucuses. The primary here in Illinois, March 19th. The Democratic National Convention, of course, right here in Chicago is in August. First, though, it's the Republican National Convention this July in Milwaukee. And